Before the age of dinosaurs, the Earth teemed with predators so bizarre and fearsome they seem ripped from nightmares. With claws like swords, sails like billboards, and teeth that never stopped growing, these forgotten giants ruled land and sea, creatures as strange as they were terrifying. For millions of years before humans walked the earth, strange and enormous creatures ruled the waters. One of the most striking was not a dinosaur, not even a fish, but an arthropod that looked like a nightmare cross between a scorpion and a lobster. Its name was Jaekelopterus, and it reached lengths that still make scientists blink twice. This is the story of a predator from a time when continents looked different and the seas were crowded with armored fish. Jaekelopterus was an extinct eurypterid, or sea scorpion, from the family Pterygotidae. Two species are recognized: Jaekelopterus rhenanii from the Klurf Formation in Germany and Jaekelopterus howelli from the Beartooth Butte Formation in Wyoming. It lived in the early Devonian period, about 410 to 392 million years ago. Jaekelopterus rhenanii could grow to 2.3 to 2.6 meters long based on a 46 centimeter claw discovered at Wilberath. Jaekelopterus howelli was smaller, about 80 centimeters. Even so, no one would want one crawling out of the water today. The body of Jaekelopterus had broad paddles for swimming and a triangular telson that acted like a rudder. Its vision was excellent, with compound eyes sharp enough to spot prey in murky water. The claws were powerful and designed to grasp and pierce, making it an apex predator. Studies of stress on the claws show it could handle armored prey, including early fishes. First described in 1914 by Otto Jaekel and named as its own genus by Charles Waterston in 1964, Jaekelopterus became famous in 2007 when Simon Brady, Marcus Poschmann, and David E.G. Briggs-Tetley announced the giant claw discovery. Later, researchers such as Lamsdale, McCoy, and Bicknell added new details about its biomechanics and ecology. It may be called a sea scorpion, but Jaekelopterus lived in brackish and freshwater, not open oceans. It never walked on land. It hovered, turned quickly, and hunted with confidence. If Devonian fish had bedtime stories, they probably included a warning: watch out for the giant with the claws. In the long story of life, some creatures appear that seem both familiar and strange. They walk with the stance of a pig, carry the bones of a deer, and bite with the teeth of a bear. One of these was Entelodon, a name that means complete tooth. This animal lived in a world long before humans during the late Eocene to early Oligocene, about 37 to 28 million years ago. Fossils have been uncovered in Europe, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, China, and even as far as Japan, giving us a wide map of its range. Entelodon magnus, the type species named in 1846 by Aimard, once roamed across Spain, Germany, France, Romania, and the Caucasus. Other species carry names such as Entelodon ronzoni, Entelodon aimardi, Entelodon verdioi, Entelodon deguilhemi, Entelodon antiquus, Entelodon dirus, Entelodon gobiensis, and Entelodon major. From the Paris Basin to Inner Mongolia and the Kutanbalak Formation of Kazakhstan, these animals left behind bones that tell a mixed story of power and adaptation. Standing up to 1.7 meters at the shoulder, with skulls stretching 80 centimeters, Entelodon major was a giant. Even the smaller Entelodon magnus reached about 1.35 meters at the shoulder. Their skulls had wide flanges along the cheekbones, looking like built-in shields. The teeth followed the full formula of 3 incisors, 1 canine, 4 premolars, and 3 molars per side, giving them a dental set closer to a toolkit than a weapon. Studies of microwear on the teeth of Entelodon magnus show that it was an omnivore, eating both plants and meat. Its long legs and 2-toed feet suggest it was quick, probably more of a scavenger and forager than a hunter. Scientists place it in the even-toed ungulates, not with true pigs, but closer to hippos and whales. With names like Entelodon dirus and Entelodon gobiensis, This group shows how diverse and widespread these hell pigs once were. They may look comical on paper, but in their time, they were a serious part of the ecosystem. Long before dinosaurs roamed the earth, there lived a creature that looked like it had been stitched together from different blueprints. It had the teeth of a predator, the body of a reptile, and a giant sail rising from its back. This animal is Dimetrodon, and its story stretches back nearly 300 million years. Scientists call it a synapsid, a distant relative of mammals, which means that in a very roundabout way, it is part of our family tree. Dimetrodon lived in the early Permian period, around 295 to 272 million years ago. Most fossils are found in the red beds of Texas and Oklahoma, but a small species called Dimetrodon teutonis turned up in Germany, showing that this genus had a wider reach. Edward Drinker Cope gave it the name in 1878, 2 measures of teeth, because it had large slicing teeth as well as smaller ones. That mix, called heterodonty, is an early step towards the complex teeth mammals have today. The most striking feature of Dimetrodon is its sail. This tall fin was built from long spines sticking up from the backbone. Some researchers think it helped with thermoregulation, warming up the animal in cool mornings and releasing heat in the afternoon. Others believe it was more of a billboard, useful for attracting mates or intimidating rivals. Maybe it did both. Whatever the purpose, it made Dimetrodon stand out. Dimetrodon was a top predator. It hunted amphibians and early reptiles across swampy landscapes, using its strong jaws to slice into prey. Unlike lizards dragging their bellies, trackways called Dimetropus suggest Dimetrodon walked with a higher, semi-erect stance. It was not a dinosaur. In fact, it vanished 40 million years before the first dinosaurs appeared. Its legacy lies not in the sail, but in its place as an early step on the long road towards mammals. There are creatures in the fossil record that look like they were designed on a dare. One of the strangest is Tullimonstrum gregarium, better known as the Tully monster. For decades it has baffled paleontologists, sparked fierce debates, and even earned a spot as the official state fossil of Illinois. Before we learn why, let us step back 307 million years to the swamps and seas of the Carboniferous period. The first fossils were found in 1958 by amateur collector Francis Tully near Mason Creek, Illinois. Scientists quickly realized this was not an ordinary discovery. The animal was preserved only as impressions in ironstone concretions. It had no bones, no shell, and no chitin, which made it difficult to classify. In 1966, Eugene Richardson and later Johnson and Richardson described the creature formally and gave it the memorable name Tullimonstrum, meaning Tully's monster. By 1989, it had become such a local celebrity that Illinois declared it the state fossil. The anatomy is unusual. Tullimonstrum had a torpedo-shaped body with a tail that carried fins. A long proboscis reached forward, ending in a claw-like jaw with small teeth. Its most famous feature is a rigid bar across its head, holding an eye at each end. The trunk even shows signs of segmentation. Some specimens measure less than 10 centimeters, while the largest reach 34 centimeters. More than 2,000 fossils are housed today at the Field Museum in Chicago. Arguments over its identity have kept scientists busy. In 2016, researchers suggested it was a vertebrate, perhaps related to lampreys, citing melanosomes in the eyes and tissue chemistry. In 2017, others countered, saying the evidence was weak and the eyes could be pigment cups. In 2023, new three-dimensional scans showed no clear vertebrate features, suggesting an invertebrate identity. For now, the Tully monster remains an enigma, both monstrous and oddly endearing. In the cold, dark seas of the late Carboniferous, over 300 million years ago, there swam a creature that still baffles scientists today. Its teeth grew in lines like conveyor belts, and instead of stopping, they kept pushing forward, ejecting the old ones out front. Its jaws were like no other, and even its name, Edestus, meaning to devour, hints at the oddity. Before we reveal more, let us step closer to this strange predator, a relative not of sharks, but of today's chimeras. Edestus lived between 313 and 307 million years ago in coastal marine and estuarine waters of what we now call the United Kingdom, Russia, and the United States. Belonging to the order Eugeneodontiformes within holocephaly, Edestus stood out for its paired symphyseal tooth whorls. New triangular, serrated crowns grew at the back, pushing old ones forward until they fell away. A single individual may have produced more than 40 teeth per whorl in its lifetime. If only human dentists had such a system, root canals would be history. The largest species, Edestus heinrichi, stretched over 6.7 meters long, larger than many modern predators. Other species include Edestus triceratus, Edestus minor, and Edestus vorax. A once included form, Edestus newtoni, has now been placed in its own genus, Lestrodus. Teeth of juveniles and adults, such as specimen FMNH PF 2204, give rare glimpses into how those jaws worked. Bite marks tell us the animal did not snip prey neatly like scissors. Instead, scratches and broken tips suggest a slashing or thrashing motion, the jaws swinging forward and back like a swinging blade. Fossils from Illinois, Kentucky, and Russian deposits reveal that these animals thrived during the Great Carboniferous transgressions. Even now, reconstructions of body shape remain uncertain, but its legend as the scissor tooth shark stays sharp.